The galaxy was quiet when the strange signal arrived. It came without warning, a low hum across the stars that made sensors flicker and machines fail. At first, technicians thought it was a glitch, a mistake in their own systems. But then the signal repeated, slow and steady like a heartbeat, and with it came a chilling message. "There is only one ship." The words were clear, written in human language. Most who read them did not even know the old tongue, but archives translated quickly. Soon the message spread across stations. Colonies and palaces and everywhere, leaders asked the same question, why only one? On the great council world of Zorath, the chamber of voices erupted into chaos. The councillors argued, tails lashing, wings flaring, mandibles snapping, fear mixed with disbelief. "This cannot be serious," one councillor shouted. "Humans are extinct. They were banished beyond the rim generations ago." "Then explain the signal," another hissed. "Our fleets remember their wars, their fire, their endless hunger for survival. What if they have returned?" The chamber fell into uneasy silence. A memory hung heavy in the air, the memory of the last time humanity walked among the stars. Empires had fallen, fleets had burned, and when the dust settled, the humans had simply vanished. No one knew where they went. Some believed they had destroyed themselves. Others feared they had been watching, waiting. On a distant patrol station near the rim, alarms rang as a massive shadow appeared on scanners. "Object incoming!" cried the watch officer. His hands shook as he read the data. One vessel, unknown design. Approaching slowly, the commander leaned forward, her crest stiff with unease. One vessel, not a fleet? "Yes, Commander," the officer said. "Only one, but its size, by the stars. It is larger than any warship we have ever seen." The screen lit up, and there it was, a black shape sliding from the void. No markings, no colors, only layers of metal and strange lines glowing faintly like veins. It moved with a calm weight, as if space itself bent around it. "Open a channel," the commander ordered. Her voice cracked slightly. The signal went out, but no reply came. The ship drifted closer, silent, patient. "Should we fire?" asked a young soldier. His voice was thin with fear. The commander shook her head. "No, not yet, if it is human. One shot could bring fire upon us all," the crew whispered among themselves. Their grandparents had told stories of the humans. Deathworlders, the word itself carried terror. Creatures from a brutal world, shaped by storms, poisons, beasts, and endless struggle. Unlike the soft worlds of most species, Earth had forced its people to adapt, to grow hard, to survive at any cost. And they had carried that willpower into the stars. The station sent urgent messages to the Central Council. Soon fleets gathered, dozens of ships from different species. They formed a wall of steel around the human vessel. But still it did not speak, did not fire, did not even change its path. It drifted like a ghost. Admiral Seric of the Kethan Empire gave the order. "Scan it, find out what we face." Technicians obeyed. Beams of light and waves of energy struck the human ship. For a moment the scans returned nothing, only static and noise. Then one by one, the fleet's scanners shut down. Entire systems fried in seconds. Consoles sparked, and officers cried out. "What happened?" shouted Seric. "Report!" The answer came in a trembling voice. "The ship. It scanned us back, Admiral. It is reading everything. Our fleets, our weapons, our worlds." Panic spread. Several ships pulled away, afraid of being next. The human ship remained still, untouched, unstoppable. On the bridge of the Kethan flagship, the Admiral clenched his fists. "This is not a warship," he muttered. "It is something more." Then at last the silence broke. A voice came through every channel, old but strong. It was human. "You were warned," the words echoed across fleets and worlds. Translations confirmed the same chilling phrase. Leaders scrambled to understand. Warned of what? Who? Why? On the Zorath Council world, panic turned into arguments again. "They mean to destroy us." One shouted, "We must attack before it is too late." "And if it is a trap?" Another countered, "What if that single ship is not alone?" The debate raged while across the stars. The lone human vessel began to move. Slowly, it turned its massive hull toward empty space. Then, without firing, it unleashed a burst of energy. Space rippled, folding like paper. A gate opened, vast and silent. From the gate came no ships, no weapons, only voices, millions of them, human voices speaking in many tongues. They rose together like a storm, filling every channel, every ear. The galaxy froze. The commander on the patrol station gripped her console. "They are not gone," she whispered. "They were never gone." The admiral stared at the gate, horror dawning in his eyes. "That ship. It is not their fleet, it is their signal fire. A torch to call the rest." The voices grew louder, repeating one message over and over. "We warned you," and then the stars flickered. On the far edges of known space, shadows stirred, more signals appeared, faint but growing. Ships, many ships, hidden just beyond reach, waiting. The lone vessel closed its gate and fell silent again. It did not attack, it did not flee, it simply waited. And the galaxy understood a terrible truth. One human ship was never alone. The galaxy could not sleep after the lone human ship revealed itself. Fleets stood on edge, governments sent frantic messages, and entire colonies whispered in fear. No one understood the meaning of the words. "We warned you." Some believed it was a threat. Others thought it was a reminder of an old promise. But everyone agreed on one thing: humans had returned. On the bridge of the Kethan flagship, Admiral Sarek paced with heavy steps. His crew sat in silence, afraid to speak. At last, he turned toward the comms officer. "Send another hail. I want to speak to whoever commands that ship." The comms officer swallowed hard and nodded. Static filled the air. Then, after a long pause, a voice answered. It was calm, low, and carried a strange weight. "You are not ready to face what is coming." The admiral clenched his jaw. "Who are you speaking for? Are you the last of your kind, or the first of an invasion?" The voice did not reply. The channel went silent again. Only the hum of the human ship filled the void. Meanwhile, on the council world of Zorath, chaos spread through the streets. Citizens demanded protection. Protesters shouted that the leaders had lied, that humans were not gone. Panic was turning into unrest. In the chamber of voices, arguments rose like storms. "We must destroy the ship before more come," one councillor cried. "No," another hissed. "Do you not remember their history? A single human colony once burned an empire's fleet. A single human captain once held off 100 ships. If that vessel is here alone, it is only because they want us to think so." The council fell into bitter silence. Deep inside, none of them wanted to be the first to strike. On a small outpost near the edge of the blockade, a young technician named Kalen stared at his screen. His hands trembled. "Commander," he said, "I think I found something." The outpost commander walked over, her sharp eyes narrowing. "What is it?" Kalen pointed at the data. "The human ship is not just sitting still. It's listening. It's drawing in our signals, our broadcasts, even our private transmissions. It knows everything we are saying." The commander froze. The realization spread through the room like fire. The humans were not just waiting, they were learning. Back on the Kethan flagship, Admiral Sarek received the same report. He slammed his fist against the console. "So that's their game? They want us to panic. They want us to turn on each other. But Admiral," the science officer whispered, "what if they are not threatening us? What if they are warning us of something else?" Sarek's eyes narrowed. He hated the thought, but it clawed at his mind. What if humanity was not the danger? What if something worse was coming? Then, without warning, the human ship moved. Slowly at first, then with purpose, its massive frame glided through the blockade. None of the alien fleets dared to fire. Weapons locked, targeting systems tracked it, but no one pressed the trigger. The silence was heavier than battle. "Admiral," a nervous officer said, "it's heading toward the dead sector. The ruins of Venar." Gasps filled the bridge. The ruins of Venar were cursed ground. An old battlefield where an empire had once fallen in a single night. The place was avoided, whispered about in fear. "Follow it," Sarek ordered. His voice was grim. "If humans have chosen that place, we need to know why." Dozens of ships tailed the lone vessel as it entered the shadow of dead stars. The wreckage of ancient fleets floated in silence, twisted metal and broken worlds drifting like ghosts. The human ship slowed and stopped near the ruins of a shattered moon. Then came the transmission. Not a voice, but an image. It filled every screen. A vision of dark shapes moving in the void. They were not human ships. Their forms were sharp. Alien, alive yet mechanical. Eyes like burning suns stared out from the black. "What is that?" whispered the comms officer. His face was pale. The message ended, replaced by a single sentence. "They are coming." The admiral felt the blood drain from his face. The crew trembled. Some fell to their knees. He gritted his teeth. So that is the warning on Zorath. The council chamber erupted again. "Lies!" One shouted, "The humans are trying to scare us, to control us." But another voice rose, quieter yet stronger. What if they are right? What if the reason humans vanished was to prepare for this enemy? The chamber went still. The idea was terrifying. Yet it explained everything. The silence of centuries, the sudden reappearance, the lone ship as a messenger back in the ruins of Vaynar. Admiral Sarek leaned close to the screen. His voice was low. "If this is true, if another enemy is coming, why show us? Why warn us?" For the first time, the human voice returned, calm but heavy with sorrow. "Because you betrayed us once, and when they arrive, you will need us again." The words struck like a blade. Memories of the old betrayal stirred, when every alien race had voted to abandon humanity to its fate. They had left Earth to die, and now the ghosts of that choice returned. The Admiral closed his eyes. He wanted to deny it, to call it lies, but deep inside, he knew it was true. Humanity had not come to conquer. They had come to remind the galaxy of its sins and to prepare them for something far worse. As the fleets drifted in the ruins, the human ship turned once more. Its engines glowed with silent fire. It began to move deeper into the void, toward the unknown. "Admiral," the comms officer whispered, "shall we follow?" Sarek hesitated. The galaxy was on the edge of chaos, fear and doubt tearing it apart. Yet his instincts told him this was only the beginning. "Yes," he said at last, his voice firm, "we follow. For if the humans speak the truth, we cannot face what is coming without them." The order was given, and the fleet slowly moved after the human vessel, into the darkness, into the unknown. Suspense hung heavy in the air. The galaxy no longer feared one ship. It feared what might follow. The alien fleets followed the lone human ship through the ruins of Vaynar. The wreckage of ancient battles drifted like shadows around them. Broken hulls spun slowly, and shards of shattered moons glimmered in the dark. Every officer on every bridge felt the same tight fear in their chest. The human vessel moved ahead without hesitation, as if it knew exactly where it was going, on the Keithan flagship. Admiral Sarek stood at the front of the bridge, his eyes locked on the massive shape gliding in silence. "How long until we lose sight of them?" he asked. "Already too long, Admiral," the navigator muttered. "If they wished, we could not catch them. They allow us to follow." Sarek's jaw tightened. He hated the truth in those words. Suddenly, a voice broke through every comm system across the fleet. It was the same human voice they had heard before, calm and heavy. "You should not have followed this far." Gasps filled the bridge. The crew froze. Sarek leaned forward. "You warned us. You showed us shadows. Now you owe us answers. What is coming?" For a long moment, there was silence. Only the hum of engines and the faint crackle of static filled the air. Then the voice returned, "You will see them soon enough." As the words faded, the scanners on the Keithan flagship came alive. Strange readings appeared at the edges of the void. Shapes moving in the darkness, faster than wreckage should drift. The officers stared in horror. "They are here," whispered the science officer. "Those things we saw in the vision, they are real." The dark shapes emerged slowly, twisting forms with jagged hulls and glowing eyes. They moved like predators, silent and smooth. Some were as large as battleships, others as small as fighters. But all carried the same unnatural aura. They were not alive, yet not fully machines. Something in between. "They are scanning us," reported the comms officer. His hands shook. "I can feel it, like they are inside my head." A low hum spread across the ships. Systems flickered, lights dimmed, weapons went offline one by one. Panic spread through the alien fleets. They are disabling us without firing a shot. Someone shouted. Admiral Serek slammed his hand on the console. Shields up! Reroute power! Anything! But it was no use. One by one, ships went dark, drifting helplessly. Only the human vessel remained untouched. Its lights burned steady, its engines strong. "Why are they ignoring the humans?" the navigator whispered. Serek stared at the screen, his voice low. "Because the humans are the reason they are here." Then the human ship released another transmission. This time it was not only words, but an image, a memory. The fleet saw flashes of ancient wars, battles where humans fought these very creatures. Worlds burning, skies filled with fire, and in the end, silence. The images vanished, leaving only the voice. "We fought them once, alone, and we paid the price. Now they return. And you are unprepared." The Admiral's chest tightened. "If you fought them before, why come back now? Why show us?" The voice grew colder. "Because last time, you abandoned us." The words cut deep. Officers looked at one another in shame. They all knew the story, whispered in archives and half-forgotten records. The day every alien council voted to exile humanity, to let Earth burn. They had betrayed the strongest warriors in the galaxy. And now the humans had returned, not as allies, but as judges. Suddenly, the dark enemy ships began to move. They did not fire, but they circled the alien fleets, trapping them like hunters around prey. Tension grew with every passing second. "Admiral," the tactical officer cried. "They could crush us now. Why do they wait?" Before Serek could answer, the human vessel pulsed with light. A wave of energy rippled outward. The dark ships froze in place. Their eyes dimmed, their movements halted. The entire fleet of horrors stopped, as if bound by invisible chains. Gasps of disbelief filled the bridges. They listened to the humans," one officer whispered. The voice returned, louder now, echoing in every mind. "This is your last chance. You can stand with us or you can fall alone." The screen shifted again, this time showing a star map. Dozens of glowing points appeared, worlds across the galaxy, and with each point, more of the dark enemy shapes flickered into view. Hundreds, thousands. The Council on Zorath received the same transmission. Panic gripped the chamber. Some councillors screamed for retreat. Others demanded peace with the humans. A few still clung to pride, but their voices were drowned out by fear. On the Kethan flagship, Admiral Serek's hands trembled as he stared at the map. His voice was rough. "They are everywhere," the human voice spoke one final time. "Decide quickly, the storm is coming." The transmission ended. The enemy ships still hovered like shadows, waiting. The human vessel turned and began to move again. Deeper into the void, Serek felt his crew staring at him. Waiting for orders, he knew the truth now. The galaxy had no choice. Without the humans, they would be consumed. He drew a deep breath, his voice steady. "Follow them. We have no other hope." The fleet adjusted course, engines roaring to life. They followed the lone human ship into the darkness. Fear weighed on every heart, but there was also something new, resolve. For the first time in generations, the galaxy realized the meaning of the old word, Deathworlders. The alien fleets followed the lone human ship deeper into the void. The ruined battlefield of Venar was far behind them now, but the fear it stirred lingered in every heart. Ahead, the human vessel moved like a shadow through the stars. Its engines glowed faintly, its hull covered in strange markings. No one dared to fire. No one dared to leave. On the Kethan flagship, Admiral Serek stood rigid at the command deck. His crew whispered among themselves, but all fell silent when the human voice returned. "You are not ready." The words rolled like thunder across every ship. Serek forced his voice to remain steady. "Then make us ready. If we are to face this enemy, we need to know how. We cannot fight blind." For a moment there was no reply. Then the human ship released a beam of light. It was not a weapon, but a projection. A vast image filled the screens, showing the interior of a world none of them had ever seen. Harsh mountains, burning skies, storms raging endlessly. Beasts with teeth like blades roamed the ground. "This is Earth," the human voice said. Gasps filled the bridge. Officers leaned closer. Their ancestors had spoken of Earth as a myth, a cursed death world where no one could survive. And yet here it was, alive, violent, real. "No wonder they became monsters," someone whispered. The voice cut in sharply. "Not monsters, survivors. This world forged us. It shaped our blood, our bones, our will. When you betrayed us, we returned here, we rebuilt in fire, we grew stronger." The projection shifted again. This time it showed humans training, marching in armies, building fleets. Their eyes burned with determination. Their hands crafted weapons of strange design. Admiral Serik's throat tightened. "So you were never gone. You were preparing." The voice was calm. "Yes, and now we return, not for revenge, but for war against the true enemy." As the words faded, alarms rang across the Kethan flagship. The enemy ships had moved again, faster this time, sharper. They darted through the dark like blades. "Surrounding the alien fleets, Admiral, they're closing in!" The tactical officer cried. "Shields up, prepare to fire." Zarek roared. Weapons lit up across the alien ships, but before they could fire, the human vessel pulsed with light once more. A shockwave rippled outward, freezing the enemy ships in place again. The silence was deafening. The human voice returned. "They fear us, they remember us. But they will not wait forever if you wish to survive. You must fight as we fight." Sarek's hands curled into fists. He wanted to shout, to demand more answers, but then he noticed something strange. A smaller vessel was breaking away from the human ship. It was sleek, silver, and alive with light. It moved toward the Kethan flagship, Admiral. "It's coming directly to us," the navigator stammered. Sarek straightened. "Hold position. Let them come." The smaller vessel docked with the flagship. For a moment, silence hung heavy. Then the airlock opened, and a figure stepped through. Gasps filled the room. It was a human tall, armored in dark metal. The human's face was hidden behind a visor. But his voice was clear. "You asked for answers. Now you will hear them." Sarek's crew froze. Some reached for their weapons, but the Admiral raised a hand. "Stand down," he ordered. His eyes never left the human. "Speak." The human's visor tilted slightly. "These creatures you face are called the Venar. Long ago, they tried to consume the galaxy. They feed not on flesh, but on fear. They break your systems. They turn your weapons against you, and once you kneel, they never leave." The officers shivered. One whispered, "How did you stop them before?" The human's voice was low. "We did not stop them. We endured them. For every world they took, we burned another to deny them. For every ship they broke, we built two more. And when at last they weakened, we chased them into the void." Sarek's chest tightened. "And now they have returned," the human nodded slowly. "Yes, and they will not stop until the stars are ash." The crew listened in silence. Fear thickened the air. Finally, Sarek spoke. "If this is true, then why not fight them now? Why wait? Why show us instead of destroying them?" The human tilted his head. "Because this war is not only ours. Last time we fought alone, and we nearly died. This time you will fight with us, or you will fall before we do." The Admiral's heart pounded. He looked at his officers, saw the fear in their eyes, but also the glimmer of something else. Resolve. He turned back to the human. "Then teach us. Show us how to fight as you fight." The human stepped closer. His armor gleamed under the lights. "Then be ready, for the first lesson is survival. The Venar are not attacking yet. They are testing you. If you cannot endure the test, you are not worth saving." As if on cue, the dark enemy ships stirred again. Their eyes glowed brighter. Systems across the fleets flickered, weapons dimmed, engines sputtered. The trap was tightening. Sarek clenched his fists. "Crew, hold the line, keep the shields up. Reroute everything to defense. We will endure." The human watched silently. The fleets groaned under the strain. Lights flickered, engines whined. Ships trembled as invisible claws tore at their systems. Some captains screamed across the comms, demanding to flee. Others held steady. Minutes felt like hours, but slowly, one by one, the ship stabilized, shields held. Engines burned bright again. The Venar's pressure faded. The enemy ships pulled back, circling like predators that had lost interest. The human's visor glowed faintly. You endured. Perhaps there is hope after all. Admiral Sarek let out a long breath he hadn't realized he was holding. He turned to the human, his voice steady. Then teach us the rest. Before it is too late, the human gave a slow nod. Then follow us deeper. For the true war begins where even light fears to go. The fleets shivered as the lone human ship turned once more, leading them into the endless dark. Suspense hung heavy, but for the first time, the galaxy felt a spark of unity. They were no longer just following a ship, they were following survivors. The fleets moved deeper into the dark, with the lone human ship at the front. Stars grew thin, light faded, and silence pressed harder against every hull. The alien crews whispered that they were leaving known space, stepping into a place no chart had ever marked. Only the humans seemed to know the path. On the Keithan flagship, Admiral Sarek stood beside the armored human who had come aboard. The visor still hid the human's face, but his voice carried weight. "You think the Venar are your enemy?" the human said quietly. "But they are only the blade. The hand that wields them waits deeper still," Sarek frowned. "Then why show us shadows first? Why not reveal the hand itself?" The human turned, his tone colder. "Because you would break, and broken allies are useless." Before Sarek could reply, alarms flared across the bridge. The dark shapes of the Venar ships were gathering again, hundreds this time. Their glowing eyes surrounded the fleets. "Pressing close like a storm of wolves. They're everywhere," the navigator gasped. "We can't fight this many." The human tilted his head slightly. "That is the point." The alien ships raised their shields. Weapons charged. Fear ran like fire through the crews. Sarek gave the order. "Hold formation, fire only if fired upon." The Venar moved closer. Engines humming like a swarm of insects. Then, without warning, they opened fire. Beams of black energy slashed across the void, striking alien shields. Ships trembled, alarms screamed, "Return fire!" Sarek shouted. The alien fleets unleashed their weapons, beams and missiles tearing through the dark, but the Venar ships moved too quickly. Weaving and splitting, their attacks grew sharper. Shields cracked, hulls burned. "Admiral, we're losing ships!" The tactical officer cried. Sarek turned toward the human, rage in his voice. "If you know how to fight them, then tell us now." The human's visor glowed faintly. "Stop chasing them. Stop fighting as prey. Stand your ground. Force them to come to you." Sarek's heart pounded. But he gave the order. "All ships, break pursuit, hold position." Titan formation. Confused captains obeyed. The fleets pulled together. Shields overlapping, weapons locked forward. The Venar swarmed around them like angry predators. But as they closed, their speed worked against them. For the first time, alien fire struck true. Dark hulls split apart, glowing eyes shattered. Gasps filled the bridges. The impossible had happened. They had killed Venar ships. The human's voice was calm. "Now you see. They are hunters. They expect you to run. When you do not, they bleed," but victory was short. More Venar poured from the dark, surrounding, pressing, testing. A dozen alien ships were already drifting as wrecks, their crews lost to the void. Sarek clenched his fists. "We can't hold much longer." The human finally stepped forward. His hand tapped a device on his armor at once. The lone human ship pulsed with light, its hull split open, revealing weapons that had been hidden until now. Towers of steel unfolded. Cannons larger than battleships roared to life. "Now you will see why one ship is enough," the human said. The vessel unleashed fire, beams brighter than stars, missiles that tore through the dark like thunder. Entire swarms of Venar ships exploded in silence, ripped apart as if made of glass. The alien crews watched in awe and terror. The lone human ship fought like a fleet, each strike precise, each movement unstoppable. Sarek's voice was rough. "By the stars, one ship can do this?" The human's reply was colder. "This is not a ship, it is a test. And you are the ones being judged." The words hit like a blade. Officers froze, realization dawning. The humans had not brought a fleet. They had brought one vessel to see if the galaxy was worth saving. As the battle raged, the Venar finally broke. Their ships scattered, retreating into the shadows. The field grew quiet once more. Wreckage drifted, fires burned, and silence returned. Cheers broke out across the alien fleets. Relief spread like light, but the human did not celebrate. His voice cut through the joy like ice. Do not cheer yet, the Venar are endless. What you fought today was a fragment. The true storm is still coming. The bridge fell silent. Fear returned, heavier than before. Zarek stepped closer, his voice low. Then why fight at all? If they are endless, how can anyone win? The human turned, and for the first time his visor lifted. His face was scarred, his eyes cold but alive with fire. Because we are human, and we do not win by being stronger. We win by refusing to stop. We win because we never break. That is the lesson you must learn, or you will fall. Zarek stared into those eyes, and for the first time in his long career, he felt something stronger than fear. He felt respect. The human lowered the visor again and spoke once more. We go deeper now, to where the true war waits. Follow if you dare. The lone ship turned, engines blazing. The fleets hesitated, battered, broken, afraid. But slowly, one by one, they followed, drawn by fear, by hope, and by the fire of survival. The galaxy had thought one human ship was a threat. Now they understood the truth. One human ship was a warning. The fleets limped after the lone human ship, hulls scorched, shields failing, crews weary from the battle. Yet none dared to turn back. The void ahead grew darker, so black it seemed to swallow even starlight. The alien captains whispered in fear. But the human vessel pressed on without pause. On the Keithan flagship, Admiral Serek stood beside the armored human. His crew watched in silence as he finally asked the question all of them carried in their hearts. Why only one ship? Why not bring your fleet? If you have armies waiting, why not show them now? The human did not answer at first. His visor tilted slightly as if he were listening to something far away. At last, his voice came low and heavy, because this was never about saving you. This was about seeing if you were worth saving. The words hit the bridge like a strike. Officers froze, whispers spread. Zarek's fists clenched. So all this, these battles, these tests, they were only trials. The human's visor glowed faintly. Yes, humanity remembers your betrayal. When we needed you, you turned away, you left us to burn. Now we return not as beggars, but as judges. The one ship is the question. Your answer decides what follows. Before Serek could respond, the sensors screamed, alarms blared, shapes moved in the darkness ahead, larger than before. Thousands of Venar ships drifting like a living wall. The glowing eyes lit the void in sickly light. The fleet trembled. Fear spread like fire. There are too many, the tactical officer whispered. We can't fight this, Serek gritted his teeth. Hold formation. Prepare to die with honor if we must, the human lifted a hand. No, not yet. The lone ship surged forward. Its hull glowed, weapons unfolded, cannons roared. It struck with fury, blasting through the enemy lines. Venar ships shattered, but still the swarm pressed closer. Tens of thousands filled the space around them. The alien fleets fought desperately, beams and missiles tearing into the endless tide. Yet it was not enough. Ships fell one by one. Fire and wreckage light in the void. We can't hold, cried the navigator. There are too many. The human's voice cut through the chaos. This is the moment, stand or fall. Decide if you are prey or warriors, Serek roared into the comms. All ships hold the line. Fire everything. Do not run, do not break. The fleets obeyed. Fear turned to rage. Cannons thundered, missiles streaked. For the first time, alien ships did not scatter in panic. They stood together. They fought as one. The Venar slammed against them. But the wall of fire held. Dozens of enemy ships exploded. Hundreds cracked apart. The alien fleets bled. But they did not collapse. Then suddenly the void shook. A soundless thunder rolled through space. Every screen flickered. The Venar froze. Their glowing eyes dimming. The human ship pulsed with light brighter than a star. And then the shadows moved. Not Venar, not machines, but ships. Hundreds, thousands, emerging from the dark. They were human. The fleets gasped in disbelief. Vast warships, unlike anything they had ever seen, filled the void. Their hulls bore scars of centuries, their cannons burned with fury. At their center loomed titans larger than moons. Admiral Serik's voice cracked. You had a fleet all along." The armored human finally lifted his visor, his scarred face revealed, eyes burning with fire. "We never left, we watched, we waited. This one ship was the torch, the test. And now you have answered." The human fleet unleashed its fire. Beams cut through the Vaynarm. Missiles shattered them, cannons tore them apart. The tide broke, the swarms scattered. Thousands of Vaynar ships fell in silence. The void lit up like dawn. The alien crews watched in stunned awe. Their fear melted into something new, hope. The human turned to Serik, his voice steady. "You see now why one ship was enough? It was never about power, it was about patience. The galaxy needed to remember, needed to choose, and now, when the true storm comes, you will fight beside us." "Or not at all," Serik bowed his head, his voice low. "We betrayed you once, but never again. If war comes, we will stand with you." The human studied him in silence, then gave a slow nod. "Then perhaps this galaxy is not lost after all." The fleets drifted together in the aftermath. Wreckage and fire surrounding them, but for the first time, there was unity. Humans had returned, not as ghosts or myths, but as warriors who had endured when all others would have broken. And as the human fleet turned toward the stars beyond, the galaxy finally understood the truth. One human ship was never alone.